So Keith, this would have been full of butterflies probably. It's got knapweed, there's a bumblebee buzzing by me there now. And it's got orchids. Why were they allowed to just start mowing it?
Well, because originally the council used to mow this area because they didn't know who owned it, but because of local people asking for it to be used as an amenity, they mowed it. But they left the area that you're filming now unmowed because of the wildflowers that grow here. And there's a variety. There's autumn ladies tresses that grow here. There's the early purple orchid, the spotted orchid. They grow here. There were various sedges, which were a fairly good indication of the fact that the land is very wet down there. I actually am a teacher. Was a teacher of biology. I've brought sixth form groups here to show them the flora as a way of indicating what's underneath it.
Wow,
so
that's lovely.
Because to bring them here and into the woods just over there. But so this is it was quite a nice. I wouldn't say it was especially species rich verge, but it was a verge with some nice orchids growing on it, and when left uncut, then it would be a wonderful. In the springtime and early summer, it's a wonderful range of wildflowers growing here.
Butterflies.
Yeah, and then with that, obviously, all the insect population that goes with it. Now, I'm not an expert on those, but I'm sure it was a fairly diverse range of insects. I know there's crickets and things on here, or there were when it was longer. So it's certainly not a verge of national importance, but locally, the East Sussex County Council have designated it as a notable verge, obviously for a reason.
And what happened? They changed the management from cutting it once a year to cutting it how often?
Well, what happened was that when the council realised that Park Lane now own it, they said to them, right, the cutting's now over to you, and all Park Lane have done is arrange with a contractor to come in and cut all of the grass. They don't leave this free, they cut all of it at the same time, and that's why you can see, although it's fenced, there are gates into each section which allows the lawn mowing team to come in and cut it.
I think without full planning permission they shouldn't be doing that, but they're probably legally allowed to. It's just such a shame that the council's so weak on protecting the environment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like all these things, it's a case of whether someone's really prepared and has got the finances, I think, to be able to fight it. Because for instance, there are covenants on the land that say you shouldn't have fences at the front, and yet they've put a fence down along the front line here along by the road, but we're not allowed to do that on our houses up here. But the council aren't interested in pursuing that, because they know when it comes down to it, it'll cost them money and they'll probably get nowhere with it.
But they are legally obliged, I think, to enforce these things, I would have thought.
Well, yes, covenants is a particular area of law. I've looked into it and it's very, very muddy, so I immediately retracted. So no, it's just it's a difficult situation, because it does smack of NIMBYism by the local people, but it's a case of what we're actually probably saying is that if you consult with us, if you actually enter into some kind of a dialogue, then maybe you'd begin to get a more positive response to planning in the town. Whereas at the moment it does appear that what's happening is that those seeking planning permission seem to have an advantage over the common people, and whether that's a financial advantage or other, I really don't know.
I think the NIMBY label is a bit ridiculous as well, because if that means that if you live nearby you're not allowed to object, but if you live far away you're not allowed to object either, because then they discount it as you're not being involved enough.
Yeah.
So, but I think you've made some very relevant, pertinent points.